Hi, my name is Dave Howe. I'm the State Director for CYIA of Montana. I'd like to talk with you about our summer ministry called Christian Youth in Action, or CYA, as we call it. I know letting your teen be involved with the summer ministry can be a difficult decision to make. This video is designed to help give answers to questions and concerns you may have. I will give you an overview of the ministry, and you will also hear from parents of previous and present CYAers. They will give you insight from their experience with having their teen participate with CYA. In simplicity, we train teenagers to be able to put on a high-octane VBS with and for churches all over the state of Montana. For those 13 and older, by June 1st, it is a 6-week commitment, 2 weeks of training and 4 weeks of ministry as a minimum. For 12-year-olds, it is just the 2-week training. Any weeks after that is up to the parents. This 2-week training takes place at Heritage Christian School in Bozeman in mid-June. The first week is basically academic as we train them to do all aspects of the VBS. They're required to get well done on the practicums we have them do to show us that they've learned what we've taught them. The second week we actually do some VBSs with the goal of helping them take the head knowledge and then turning it into ministry. We have a strong spiritual emphasis throughout the 2 weeks as well. Chapel and devotions take place each day. The cost of this training is $350. This includes the ministry kit, the t-shirts that we wear as a team throughout the summer, and room and board. The cost of the training can sometimes be a concern for some parents. You can always contact me if the cost becomes an obstacle. But remember, God does promise to meet our needs.
And the cost isn't a problem for our family specifically because we have made a decision a long time ago that this is what we put our money towards.
It's pretty comparable to camp as far as the 2-week training and cost.
Actually, Chloe talked to the church about it, and the church decided to make an investment in her summer and covered that cost for us. And it was a bit of a bargain. The bargain was that after CYIA was finished for the summer, that Chloe would actually come back to the church and be willing to serve in our church as a teacher.
Our church funded for our son to go to the training every summer. So that wasn't an issue for us. So there are a lot of churches out there that will pay the fee.
You know, being a parent myself, I know and expect that safety for your teen will be a major concern. This is what we do to be sure your teen is as safe as we can make them. We give background checks for all CF staff, our interns, any volunteer that's 18 or over who will have a connection with your teen. 3 references are interviewed for each individual who was background checked. A personal interview with those who have the background check is done as well. We have a 3-person rule. This means that your teen will never be alone with a leader without prior permission from you. We have very strict guidelines regarding young men and young ladies. Boyfriend-girlfriend relationships are discouraged during CYA. We give very clear parameters and expectations about pairing off, curfew, and off-limit locations.
The safety steps and protocols that CYIA has in place are phenomenal. We couldn't have asked for a safer, better way to introduce our daughter into the world around us.
We can have full confidence in the leadership. There's a lot of things in place to protect the kids when they go out and about.
They are with safe people. Child Evangelism Fellowship is a very reputable organization.
So before sending my son, my primary concern was ensuring that he was chaperoned appropriately, both at the training and traveling throughout the state. And CEF, they do an excellent job of screening any adults who may have an influence on the teenagers. So I've never felt that my son was at risk for anything.
Okay, our girls are going to be sleeping in random people's houses or churches, and will they be supervised, and whose place are they staying at? And those things can all be a little unnerving, but when you see behind the scenes what happens and the great steps that CEF takes to make sure our teens are safe, it makes you feel better about the whole thing. Again, that's where you just have to say, we trust that these people want what's best for our children as well, and that just pray their safety and they came back safe every time.
When it comes to traveling during the summer, we work very hard to keep the teens safe and keep travel for the parents to a minimum. All of our drivers will be a minimum of 18 years old and meet our maturity requirement. We ask teens to contact parents when we leave and when we arrive at our destinations. Try to have teens involved with clubs closest to their home. We often pick up teams in their hometown or even at their homes. There are times we set up a meeting place close to the hometown to pick up the teens. Another option is to have the teen work 2 weeks in a row and spend the middle weekend at the state director's home, my home, to also cut down on driving for parents.
I think the only reservation that I held personally was the length of time that she was going to be gone. They are growing up and it is okay. And I couldn't think of a better way for her to actually spend her summer than being with people that could be positive role models for her.
We didn't have any concerns with the travel or the accommodations because we hosted a CEF group, and so we knew kind of the background checks that had to be done and the communication.
My concerns initially were the distance of the 5-day clubs because Montana's a big state. But the staff tries to keep the teens closest to home.
I'd like to encourage you to allow your teen to participate in CYA. I've been doing this for a long time and have seen the spiritual lives of many, many teens be impacted greatly. It clearly helps them make faith their own.
He was different when he came back home. I think going over God's word changed him, and maybe he became a true Christian then.
She came back more responsible and understanding that ministry is not just about fun and games. It's really about having to study hard, having to be prepared.
CYIA established her confidence in spreading the gospel, in herself, and in her value as a child of God. She found her circle of friends that were like-minded and Christ-focused, which helped her feel like she belonged. She became a warrior for Christ.
The immediate impact is that he was involved in children's ministry and then he stayed involved in our church.
It's not just fun and games, but it is a true discipleship program and carrying out the Great Commission to tell others about Jesus.
So if God is calling their heart to do a program like CEF, then I think you should turn that over to God and pray together about it and see what decision that He has you come to.
They improve their public speaking skills. They improve their skills working with children. They build relationships with other churches, and it gives the teenagers an understanding that their Christian community and their Christian influence is bigger than just their church and just their town.
I would just encourage parents to realize that our children don't belong to us anyway. That's kind of hard sometimes to think about letting go of your kids, but when you do that, the blessing that you get as a parent of God saying, yes, they're mine and I'm going to take care of them, and the blessing that your children get of learning independence, learning to trust God in their own way and not depending on just our faith, making their faith real, those rewards are far outweigh any fear or holding back that you should do of your children.
Yes, it is a sacrifice, no doubt about it. Yet I believe the eternal benefits can definitely be worth it for you and your teen. If you have any further questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you for taking the time to be a concerned parent and watching this video.